Hi everybody, this is Stefan Molyneux from Free Domain Radio. I hope you're doing well. So we wanted to put a presentation together about male privilege, something that you have probably heard about, patriarchy and dominance of men in society. This is the truth about male privilege. So let's start with life expectancy. How long do men live? So men live for 76.4 years on average. Women live for 81.2 years on average. Now, men pay the majority of Social Security taxes, which are retirement benefit taxes for those outside the US, but are outlived by almost 5 years by women. This means that on average, women can receive almost 5 years extra of Social Security benefits, having paid much less into the system. This does not speak to me of male privilege. This would speak to me of female privilege, but let's continue with the data. So Social Security recipients by age and gender. So the difference in life expectancy at 65 years of age between males and females is only 2.6 years. In other words, if you make it to 65, then you are more likely to have a closer mortality ratio if you're a man. So 2.6 additional years of benefits for women. Again, women are paying much less on average, into the Social Security or retirement system, but are receiving much greater benefit. So let's look at the contributions versus the benefits received. So women contribute 40.7% of retirement benefits throughout their working life. Men contribute almost 60% of the retirement benefits, so almost 20% difference. The benefits received, of course, is almost on parity, 48.7 versus 51.3% for men. So men contribute $126.6 billion to the Social Security or retirement system, 18.6% more per year than women. Men only receive 2.6 more per year than women in benefits. So they pay almost 20%, but receive less than a little more than 2.5%. Now, in the realm of healthcare, one of the things that is true throughout the lives of the genders is that women consume far more medical resources than men. Comparing Medicare contributions, men were taxed an average of almost $1,500 each, compared to only $933 each for women. This is annually. So men are taxed almost 60% more than women, but women receive 26.4% more spending in healthcare. Chronically homeless people, 3/4 of them in America are men, and only 25% of them are women. Again, if there was male privilege, we would not expect to see these kinds of numbers. Homicides in the United States. In 2011, the murder rate for males was 7.4 homicides per 100,000 males, compared to 2 homicides per 100,000 females. Now, I understand a lot of the men are being shot by other men, but imagine if these statistics were reversed. In other words, almost 80% of homicide victims were women, and only 20% of them were men. There would be a national call to action, and there would be many meetings of pear-shaped people in comfortable shoes. What about American combat deaths and casualties? Again, if there was male privilege, shouldn't we be seeing men comfortably puffing on cigars at the head office while women did frontline duties? Well, women make up almost 15% of all active duty US military personnel, but are currently excluded by the Pentagon from frontline combat duty. That is supposed to change in 2016 after the election, as you can imagine. But even mentally challenged and physically disabled men are required to register for the draft, but women are not. And although women make up almost 15% of active duty US military personnel, 97% of the combat deaths and casualties since the Gulf War have fallen to men, and only 3% of combat deaths and casualties are women. And that is quite different from the video games that I've played, where there seem to be a lot of tough women with lots of weapons. This is not how it works. So where is the male privilege here? Suicides, again, this is similar to the ratio for homicides. 79% of suicides are men, 21% are women. And this is a tragic statistic. 30,307 male suicide deaths were reported in 2010. 83 men kill themselves every day. 3.5 men kill themselves every hour. And again, if these statistics were reversed, what would happen? Where's the male privilege in the criminal justice system? Emphasis on criminal. So studies have repeatedly found, quote, dramatic and unexplained gender gaps in federal criminal cases. Conditional on arrest offense, criminal history, and other pre-charge observables, men receive 63% longer sentences on average than women do, right? Same district court, same offense, same criminal history, same offense level. Men receive 63% longer sentences on average than women do. Women are also significantly likelier to avoid charges and convictions, and twice as likely to avoid incarceration if convicted. There are large unexplained gaps across the sentence distribution and across a wide variety of specifications, subsamples, and estimation strategies. Actual execution, death penalty executions by gender in the US, it's pretty rare for women to be executed. Only 571 documented instances as of December 31st, 2011, beginning with the first in 1632. These executions constitute about 2.9% of the total confirmed executions in the US since 1608, yet women commit 10% of all murders. And only 12 female offenders have been executed since 1976. Where's the privilege here? Death penalty falls 97.1% on men and 2.9% on women, despite the fact that women commit 10%, or at least a court for 10% of all murders. So, not seeing a lot of privilege there. Child custody goes to men 18% of the time and to women 82% of the time. Child support payments. The amount due to fathers, 5,527, mothers, 6,115. The amount received, 3,015 fathers, 3,862 mothers. Custodial mothers are awarded child support in 53.4% of cases compared to only 28.8% for custodial fathers. So this is the average child support payments per year. Women are paid 77 cents for every dollar a man makes. Of course, you've probably heard the statement in one form or another. And this is supposed to be all about the male privilege. 12% of men and 25% of women work part-time jobs, which are 1 to 34 hours. 22% of men work overtime compared to 11% of women. In the United States, the Fair Labor Standards Act requires employees to be paid 1.5 times their regular rate if they work over 40 hours a week, except in management. Given that more men work overtime, this is not insignificant in terms of the pay gap. All right, workplace deaths in the United States. Here's male privilege not working again. Boy, 93% of workplace deaths in the United States are men. 7% of these workplace deaths are women. So, do men get thanks for that? State alimony laws, many of course which were passed in the 1960s and 1970s, were originally designed to help non-working or lesser-earning spouses after divorce. Many states allow for recipients to receive payments for life. In California, you divorce after 10 years, you've got to pay your wife for life. So here you can see from 93, $8.4 billion to 2012, $11.2 billion, big driving factor. Alimony payments per year. Adjusted for inflation, alimony payments per person, 1993, $13,148 has gone to $17,541. Alimony payments by gender, right? So men receive 6% of alimony payments, women receive 94%. Now there's a wage gap. 361,000 women and 23,000 men received alimony payments in 2012. So $11.2 billion in alimony payments for 2012. Women received $10.5 billion for that year. The objectification in society is directed at men. The idea that the government and its resources can substitute a father and his involvement is ridiculously and horrifyingly and repulsively sexist towards the value and virtues that men provide in families, in societies. Male privilege. Male privilege, are you kidding me? We can only pray for the possibility of male equality. And then we'll have a society that will be the envy of history, rather than the dregs and disasters of a giant failed social experiment.